Hello, everyone. Welcome to Boiler Ball Postgame in the Lounge. I'm Sam Sprunger, joined by Dustin Schutte, Grant Flora. Gentlemen, great game from Tuscaloosa this evening. The number 2 Purdue Boilermakers take down the Alabama Crimson Tide 87-80. Big game from Braden Smith. Big game from TKR. I think it's glaringly obvious he is very valuable to this team.
I had to shut down some people on Facebook, I think it was after the Oakland game, that said TKR, I don't see TKR fitting in, and the problems that Purdue has, he's not going to be able to resolve. I beg to, you needed a 1-game sample size to realize that maybe that was a ridiculous comment to make.
Well, and Grant, we talked about this on Tuesday when we were previewing it. I talked about the fact that TKR coming in may have more rebounding opportunities, and he came up with 15 tonight.
Oh yeah, he was a monster, and you could tell just his intentionality and his physicality was higher than normal. He was out there to rebound. I feel like the first 2 games sitting out and having some rebounding issues might have been the best thing for him from a rebounding standpoint, because he realized, hey, we have got to rebound better, and obviously TKR has a good position to do that. So part of me is wondering if just sitting on the sidelines and watching them struggle to rebound really helped him to be more intentional about it.
Well, and he did mention, Dustin, that it drove him nuts watching those 2 games. Being on the sidelines drove him nuts. Not saying it was just him, but the fact that Purdue out-rebounded Alabama, which is a pretty physical and it has plenty of size to go, out-rebounded him by 25 this evening.
Yeah. That was the kind of rebounding effort we expected to see from this team from the jump. And the first 2 games, you tie with Evansville. You give up 20 offensive rebounds to Evansville. You get out-rebounded by Oakland by 2. And Trey kind of hinted at this in the offseason, just Oscar Clough taking up more space and taking out the other team's 5, basically, even just boxing him out is going to allow Trey to get more rebounds.
Yeah.
And I felt like that kind of worked for both players tonight. I thought that Trey being in there, taking out some of those responsibilities too, opened up some rebounding opportunities, not just for Oscar Clough, but then Daniel Jacobson, Jakari had 4 boards, Braden had 7. It was just everybody that came into that game rebounded. I think it was they had really good rebound balance, which Matt Painter always talks about. So yeah, Trey Kaufman-Renn was the one who was going after it with purpose, at least early on, and kind of setting the tone. But there wasn't a guy on there that wasn't chasing down rebounds tonight.
Well, and you mentioned Oscar Clough, you throw Daniel Jacobson. I'm going to do this pretty much all year, where I'm going to take both of what our centers do and kind of throw them together. 18 and 16 for the center position. That is really huge as well, because like you said, that was what we missed a lot last year from not having Jacobson in the lineup from that point. Not saying he would have averaged 18 and 16, but he would have averaged, maybe 8 or 9 rebounds a game while he was in there. This is a huge output by our center position as well.
Yeah, and to do it with Trey Kaufman-Renn having a good game as well. Those 2 being put together. We talked about some of the issues maybe they were having fitting together, right, with especially Clough and TKR, but I feel like they really worked well together in this game, which is huge for their offense, the rebounding, all of those things.
I thought when you look at the way Jacobson played, I said this at one point because I don't know if he had scored or maybe he got a bucket that I missed earlier in the game. He finished with 9 points and 5 rebounds.
Yep.
I don't think that you would see in the stat sheet what he did for Purdue's defense. And there were certainly some lapses throughout that game. I think asking a sophomore, even if you are 7'4", to kind of stop and slow down Alabama's offense is a tough task. But when they got in the paint, there were times when guys would go up, and I don't know if it was LeBaron Philon, I don't know if it was Latrell Wrightsell, would go up for a layup, and they would contort their body and then decide, nope, not going to go up for a layup and kick it out and have to settle for a 3. There were other times when he would just put his arm. He didn't finish with any blocks. He would put his arm up, and you could tell it altered the shot.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know that he still has some room to grow, and people want to say 7'4", you only had 5 rebounds. But Daniel Jacobson, to me, I don't know if unsung hero is the right term, but his minutes were very valuable to Purdue because he was able, even when Alabama got into the painted area and he was on the floor, they had trouble shooting over and around him. And I don't, you can put a value on that. And then he had 2, I'm going to talk about this sequence at some point before we end this show, but he had 2 big rebounds in that game. He stepped to the foul line. I know he only made one of those free throws late. But yeah, I think when you go back and watch this game, and I think I will watch this game again tomorrow, just watch what Daniel Jacobson does from a defensive perspective, because he altered a lot of shots. And in a game like this, if you get 2 or 3 stops from your center just by being on the floor and being taller, that was the difference in the game.
Well, and you look, they Alabama took 66 total shots. 44 of them were threes. And Nate Oates doesn't like the mid-range jumpers from his guys. He either wants threes or plays at the hoop. So that right there, I mean, they were 12 of 22 from the field other than for threes. So that tells you, I mean, he altered some shots and made it like you said, it doesn't go in the stat book, but he had a lot of influence on that defensive end for Purdue.
Yeah, I feel like Purdue's defense overall was pretty good, considering like all the perimeter stuff that Alabama runs, the speeds, the athleticism that they have, like just the way they're able to defend the interior overall, not just Jacobson, but like the broadcasters talked about this a lot. They made Alabama play through them. And it's when you have quick, shifty guards that are athletic, that can drive around. We've seen Purdue have some trouble, I think, just keeping guys in front of them. But they did an amazing job tonight. And that was crucial just to forcing Alabama to play more offense, kick the ball out for some more contested threes, things like that, that I thought was something you don't necessarily notice as much, but was very much improved for Purdue tonight.
Yeah, Braden Smith. You and I interacted on the platform formerly known as Twitter, Dustin, because you said something about, Braden Smith having 3 fouls. It's nice to have Omer Meyer, and that's what it makes you feel good having that guy there. I love the fact that Painter let him play it out, and lo and behold, he ended the game with 3 personal fouls. So like he knows. Maybe I don't know that maybe he takes those extra chances or whatever, and when he gets to 3, he goes, okay, maybe I need to clean it. I pull it back a touch. But the fact that he only had 4 assists tonight, if this was hockey and they gave 2 people assists on plays, he would have had 4 or 5 other ones.
Yeah, the one that stands out to me is that pass that he took the handoff, got the ball to Trey Kaufman-Renn, and Kaufman-Renn throws a lob to Daniel Jacobson.
Yes,
that was a pivotal point in that game.
Absolutely.
I was like, that's going to be the play of the year. And I know we're only 3 games in and got a lot of play, have plenty to play, but that was impressive. And I think too, another key in this game, and it wasn't just Braden Smith, but both CJ Cox and Jakari Harris talked about not reaching. I think that they each maybe took 1 or 2 chances in this game where they thought they could get a steal. Other than that, I thought that they just did a good job of keeping their man in front of them or playing discipline. Like They don't, if they're going to shoot over us, and they make the shot, then that's fine. We don't want to give them an open look because we're, halfway down the court trying to come up with a steal or give them free foul shots. I was really impressed by that. And I wanted to go back too. I know we'll have plenty to say about Braden Smith too. I just wanted to go back. The thing that stood out to me, I'm going to say stood out to me like 37 times tonight.
There was a lot to stand out.
There was. For a team like Alabama, as good as they are 3-point shooting, as efficient as they were in the first half especially, for them to have basically 2 runs in this game. One was a 9-0 run when Purdue had a 18-11 lead, and then there was another run in the second half. Purdue was up 53-48. Alabama goes on a 13-4 run and takes the lead 59-57. That was it. There was no 15-0 run. There weren't multiple like 10-0 runs or 12-4 runs. Purdue's ability to match them point for point and come up with stops when they needed to get stops. I don't know they try to do defensively where they get 3 stops in a row and they call that a kill. I don't know if they had more than one of those tonight, if they had any, but they didn't need it because they were able to keep up offensively. And like I said, then Alabama never really went on much of a run other than those 2 times.
I thought maybe, Grant, you had something to add in there too.
I mean, yeah, Dustin pretty much covered it. That was pretty good. But yeah, just really impressed with their ability to handle the environment too. Because Alabama, like that gymnasium got rocking and rolling. They talked about in the broadcast when Braden was trying to talk to Clough and like they were like, "Hey, you got to listen," and he's like, he couldn't hear. Their ability to kind of weather that storm and again kind of stop some of those runs from Alabama was really big. And their ability to get stops when they needed it, but also to get baskets when they needed it. You talked about the play, the lob to Jacobson, but they also had the 2 where it was the high pick and roll with TKR and Braden, and it got it to TKR. And because those guys came up and hedged on Braden, all of a sudden it's like a 3 or 4 on 3 for Purdue. Basically, they had a 1-man advantage, and TKR made some really good reads with that. Those would have been 2 other hockey assists for Braden. I thought those were pretty big offensive plays.
And so I forget who might have been Brian Newbert said something about the fact that he feels that TKR and Braden Smith both could end up with triple doubles this year, and and I don't doubt that because you know what, TKR has a great vision of the court as well, and the fact that he came into this game having not played since the 2 exhibitions and came in looking and polished. I mean, he started the game 4 of 4 before he missed a shot, and he took hold of that game early.
6 of 6. He started 6 of 6.
Oh, that's right. It was 6 of 6 and he missed. Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
He was 6 of 7 to start out.
And one of those was a really smooth 3-pointer. I will say that I think Trey Kaufman-Renn, and obviously I've been around a lot of those guys, I think Trey Kaufman-Renn is one of the most confident players. So when he says, like, I think the next 100 shots are going in, that's not like him just speaking. He actually believes that. And so when he took the floor, he wasn't like him hawing around. He was out there with a purpose. I don't remember if Grant or Sam said this when we kind of opened, but him not being able to play, he even said, like, I was nervous in those first 2 games because I couldn't control anything.
Right.
And so now the fact that he was on the floor, he could control some stuff. And you could see now Alabama did a better job on him in the second half.
Yes.
But as Grant pointed out, like the way he was able to read when they were doubling him, the way he was able to read the defense and get other guys the ball. I think he hit, if I'm remembering right, I think he also hit Fletch open for an open 3 at a critical stage. And Fletch was wide open.
And that was after they missed a couple of shots and gotten the offensive rebounds. He found him out on the wing. Yeah.
So there were some big moments. Like I was just thoroughly impressed for you to come out in your first game of the season and to play like that in that environment against the top 10 team. That was really that was a special performance from him.
And you and I talked about it before we went on the air and before Grant got here. If Purdue had ended up losing this game, I don't think I would have been upset with the way that it played out. If they would have ended up falling short, this would have still been a really good game for Purdue to play in Alabama against a team like the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, because this is one of those games where it's great to win, but if you lose it, it doesn't hurt you at all. Like there's basically no consequence for losing this type of game. Now that you win it, it helps in terms of your seed line, helps in terms of your confidence. Yeah, I mean, this was a big time basketball game, and I made this mention multiple times. Like, if Alabama beats you because they make a lot of threes, then so be. Like, they weren't getting. When they did get into the paint, I thought Purdue did a good job of altering their shots or making them kick it out. They did get open looks, but like that's what Alabama does. It's what Alabama's done against Purdue 3 years in a row. Like This isn't. It's not like Purdue's the only one that can't defend the 3-point line against Alabama. So you take your wins where you can get them, and that's why I said this on a radio show before today. So thank you to Purdue for making me look like I know what I'm talking about. But there was nobody on Alabama's roster that was going to be able to match the physicality of TKR and Oscar Clough. And the fact that they went to Clough the first 2 possessions, he scored the first 4 points.
He had
of the
first
game.
2 buckets. Yep.
Yeah. And they just I felt like they set the tone. Like, we're going to try to establish the post, kind of like we talked about after that Oakland game, Sam. We're going to establish the post, get us our secure buckets, and then we're going to hit those spray out threes and get our 3-point game going, because they only had 9 threes in the first half, and I think they were perfectly fine with that.
Well, and Grant, we talked about it on Tuesday during our preview portion. We mentioned exactly what Dustin just said, is if they're going to shoot the threes and they're going to make them and they beat us, so be it. We're not going to let them get away with stupid things or shortcomings of what we do defensively and lose the game that way. They're going to have to beat us with their threes.
Yeah, and this is the third year in a row Purdue's beaten Alabama, and Alabama's been good all 3 years. Purdue's been good all 3 years. I feel like part of what is going Purdue's way here is Alabama is so live and die by the three.
Yeah.
And a lot of times they live by it because they're good at it and because the analytics help them in a lot of cases. But Purdue, being so paint-oriented most of the time with TKR and Edey, is so much more of a foundational scoring option that's going to be more consistent, that I feel like, especially late in games like we saw tonight, Purdue's ability in the paint to control and to score in the paint helps a lot. And between getting to the free throw line, especially I think at the end of the game, it helped them a lot.
Yeah, there were multiple times I scared my dog by going, hit your free throws, because Braden missed them in the first half, but then you had Jacobson missed a 1-and-1, and I forget who the other one, Jakari, or no, not he missed one of his 2. But there was another 1-and-1 that was missed, the front end, and I'm like, that's going to potentially kill us. And luckily, things came around. I'm looking. Both teams took 66 shots. Alabama went 16 of 44 for threes. Purdue went 9 of 21. Purdue shot a better percentage than Alabama did from threes. And then obviously the rest is all in the paint. Alabama went 8 of 10 from the free throw line, and Purdue outscored them by 6 at the free throw line, going 6 of 23. I like the ability that Purdue can shoot the three, but I'm so glad that we don't chuck the ball up 45 times from behind the arc. I really am.
Well, and I think to that point, like, Purdue also knows when you have veteran players like this and you have those security blankets in the post, which I think Oscar Clough is getting better every single game. So they're going to have 2 security blankets in the post, and then a lob threat when they bring in Jacobson off the bench, which he missed 1 or 2 that I thought he should have had tonight. But I think he still overall played well. But in that first game against Evansville, if Fletch has got the hot hand, if the 3 ball's falling, they'll go to that. That's just an element of their game. It's just a way, like, people will talk about how do you beat Purdue and, like, how do you defend them? It's because they have that inside out game where they can rough you up. They can play physical and get into the post and score that way. Or if you're going to try to take that away, they do have a bevy of 3-point shooters. They're not always going to fall, but they can beat you in that regard too. So it's not like Purdue fell in love with the 3 ball, because they hit a few early, but it wasn't like it was the strength of their game tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. And Grant, Fletcher Lawyer, only 1 of 4 from threes, 7 points total. It felt like when we talked about a couple of times that maybe that's if he doesn't have a high hand, he may lose some minutes just simply because he ended up playing 31 minutes. Don't get me wrong, but he could have easily played 37 minutes had he been hitting his shots, I think, too.
Yeah, there were times I think Alabama was trying to exploit him on the defensive end. I think that was part of why he didn't play more. Like, they played, I think the lineup with Omer at the 2 next to Braden, then you play either CJ or Jakari at the 3, works really well because you have Omer, while he's not necessarily the best defender, is at least a stronger body, and then you still have CJ or Jakari who are good defenders. We saw them use that lineup a couple times, which I think worked really well when Fletch was maybe being exploited on the defensive end. So I think you're right. When he's not hitting, he doesn't have the hot hand, and you're playing a team like Alabama that has quickness and athleticism, throwing Omer in at the 2 or playing both CJ and Jakari can really help to defend in that backcourt.
Now, Dustin, you've interacted with the team a little bit more. Do you think that bothers Fletcher in the least if he doesn't have the high hand, if he has to sit a few minutes?
I think in the moment, no. I think in the moment, the answer is I want to, we need to do what's best for the team. I think if you asked him like tomorrow, he'd be like, I need to play better. I need to play better defensively. I need to hit more shots. Like
it would bother him about himself, not necessarily about the decision to take him
Correct.
out.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what it would be.
Well, his comment about the game against Oakland about, give them credit, but you know what? We're supposed to be the number one team and we only beat them by 10. We've got to do better. That's why I asked that question, because I take that as he's more disappointed in the output of what he would have done in that aspect too. I'm not saying that but I can tell you I was kind of upset that he got the ball stolen from him right there. The 5-point game and he gets it stolen. I'm like, no, you can't do I tell you, my dog was kind of scared a few different times because of my reaction.
That happens.
Yeah, I was getting pretty into it as well. I was a little frustrated myself. I'm like, man, I can't be getting this tied up in it.
Well, go ahead.
This is I was just going to say real quick, this is the beauty of covering the games live, is that now I'm pretty mild mannered now when I watch these games. So
because you have to be. You have to.
Yeah, you might get a jolt out of me every now and then, but I was fairly calm throughout most of that game.
Well, I just want to say I'm going to pat myself on the back a little bit right now, because the Field of 68 asked about people's thoughts on tonight's game, and I said 86-81 Purdue.
Oh,
I was wrong on how I thought it would go. I thought Smith would have 10-14 and like 12 assists. But yeah, it was 86-81 is what I went with. So
you got the over under perfectly.
I did.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's perfect.
But yeah, I'm really happy with the way that they played. They had a season high 10 turnovers tonight. I love
season high.
I love that is the season high, and it's barely double digits, and it didn't happen until late in the game when they turned it over to turn over and make it 10. Now they only turned Alabama over 6 times, but at the same time, when you're shooting threes really, really quickly, there's not a lot of time to turn them over. But they did a great job on the rebounding and on the boards, and that was the huge thing for me. 33 defensive rebounds for Purdue. So that's really big, especially when Alabama only has 7 offensive rebounds. So really happy with that output, and it has to. It just says to me that it's absolutely TKR brings a presence to make it such, make that much of a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I think you saw tonight just the impact he has on both ends of the floor and how much he helps this team on the glass. I know we're running short on time, and this is going to be slightly off topic, but I have to mention
No, that's fine.
I also thought that one of the key plays in tonight's game came at the end. TKR's on the bench. Because he left with some sort of, I don't know if it was a cramp or
it looked like cramps.
Yeah, he had the Theragun on the sideline. Purdue turns it over. LeBaron Philon looks like he has an easy path to the basket. Jack Benner gets there, walls up, hands straight up. I don't remember if he left the ground or not. That shot is short. DJ rebounds it. They're able to get down to the other end. I think they missed their initial shot. Daniel Jacobson gets the offensive board and then knocks down a free throw. Even though Alabama got to 80-77, I thought that was a critical play in the game. And I think, again, we talked in the first 2 games how well Jack Benner played. Nothing he did tonight's really going to show up in the stat book. But I thought that play in a pivotal moment with Trey Kaufman-Renn on the sideline was a big time stop and something Purdue needed late in that game.
One thing also, right before we get off of here, it was the blocking foul called on Omer Meyer after Alabama stole it, and he tried to draw the charge, but got the. It was essentially, and the broadcaster said it perfectly. That's a defensive passing interference penalty right there. Yeah. Like you just choose to knock him down to prevent that breakout, and that was a big defensive play too. Even though it was a foul,
Right.
I thought Ulmer's minutes overall tonight were really good. I mean, the 7 points that he had, just some of the intangibles, like he did a great job off the bench.
Yeah, 17 minutes, 7 points, 3 of 5 from the field, 1 of 3, and they were at times in the first half when Alabama was had hit a couple of threes in a row or something,
and
he
Braden
came
was
back
off
and hit
the
a
floor.
Braden was off the floor, so there were a lot of really good minutes there from Omer today as well. You're right. Well, I think we've pretty much wrapped this nice little bow around this one. This was a great win for the second-ranked Boilermakers, the first top 10 victory on the road, non-conference victory on the road since 1982 when Purdue beat Louisville, number 7 Louisville. So
a long time.
Yes. I was alive, but I'm not sure either of you two were.
It wasn't that long ago. I changed my mind. It's not that long ago.
But 87-80, Purdue goes into Tuscaloosa, takes down Alabama. Really excited about that. Gentlemen, thanks for jumping on late at night. Late at night. I'm old. But later in the evening to chat about this really, really actually great game that we just saw tonight against Alabama.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, high-level basketball in Tuscaloosa tonight, so good win for Purdue.
All right, well, that wraps up the Boiler Ball post-game in the lounge. We've got a game on Sunday, so we'll be back with a reaction there on Sunday, and thanks for coming in. We'll see you next time.